much again. Now we move onwards. Michelle, if you can move exactly 2 slides further to look a bit more in detail to actual cases from on the ground, let's say. And who are those cases that we have selected for you today? Some of you might know that last year, the specific subgroup of OurWorldHeritage launched a global competition. And the idea of the competition was looking for World Heritage sites which shows best practice cases and can bring inspiration for managers and stakeholders and policymakers worldwide. Of course, always relating back to the core topics of our information technology group, being either strengthening the monitoring of World Heritage sites or enhancing the narratives and interpretation of World Heritage sites. So, Michelle, if you can go to the next slide, we were very happy to see that in the end, for this global competition, 36 unique submissions were made. You can see here on the map where those submissions came from. We were also very happy to see that there were a variety of World Heritage sites who applied for it. They were very, very exciting. All of them will be highlighted throughout the entire Globinar, and our policy team will go a bit more in depth also what is the purpose and how we can learn from these sites in the end. But right now for you, we have a selection of 6 of these submissions who are very keen on presenting to you today the specific site practices that they have developed in terms of either monitoring or interpreting World Heritage sites. So Michelle, if you could kindly move forward to the next one. So the first presenter of today of these 36 submissions is Patricia Alberth from the town of Bamberg in Germany, who will talk about mobile monuments. So Patricia, we are very happy to have you here with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. We made a contribution from the field of interpretation based on the very high number of listed buildings that we have in our city. We have 1,344 listed monuments and the most comprehensive inventory, written inventory in the whole of Germany. What you see here on the slide is a picture from my office. On the bookshelf, I have almost 2 meters of books just inventorying our buildings. And based on that, next slide, please. Based on that, we have an association in Bamberg that used this information and fed it into an application, a GIS-based application. So now everyone can go to that website. You see the link on the bottom right, and can get information on every of those listed buildings. From which era does it stem? What was there in the past? What is happening there now? What is special? There are maps, there are pictures, there's everything. Next slide. And even better, in 2019, we opened our new World Heritage Visitor Center in the middle of the city. It's a rather small exhibition, 220 square meters. It's all following an all design for all approach with interactive media stations. And the whole exhibition cost almost €1 million. So it's a limited budget, but we had big support from the university, from the State Conservation Office, and from associations. And because we were allowed to use this application from that association that fed the inventory into a digital platform, we could set up an interactive module in our exhibition where visitors can get detailed information about the listed monuments of Bamberg. Next slide. And the exciting part is it does not only work on your computer, it does not only work in our exhibition, but it works on every person's mobile phone due to the GIS-based system. Also, it's not an application as such, it's just a website, and it's ad-free, it's free of charge, it's continuously updated due to the effort of this association, and it can be used by locals. It is actually being used by locals, but also tourists. Schools tap into this resource, and also the university, many researchers. So it's a very handy package that is only possible because many forces join together to develop this very useful tool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patricia, both for the presentation, as well as, of course, making the submission to the competition. This is definitely an example that can serve as inspiration. It's, like you say, a very accessible tool that definitely helps with the interpretation of a World Heritage site. Quite complex. Bamberg is a very dense historic city. So thank you very much. Again, our policy team will come back to it later as to how we envisage to upscale all these examples. Thank you very much. For everyone who is in the room, so you can access our Miro and check out also the movie and the example presented by Patricia. Thank you again. Then we move to the next slide, Michelle. So now we introduce.
So our next speakers are Andrea and Haifaa. They are from Cyprus, and their presentation will be on project CyFA. Andrea and Haifaa, you are welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting us today. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Go ahead, Haifaa.
Okay, I am Andrea Giorgalli. I am a Greek Cypriot architect, born and raised in the southern part of Cyprus, capital city, Nicosia.
And hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this event also. I am Fatmagul again. I am a Turkish Cypriot conservation architect, born and raised in the northern part of Nicosia, capital.
So we are very happy to be here and talk about our project proposal in the historic city center of Old Nicosia, the last divided capital of Europe. Since the intercommunal war between the two main ethnic communities, Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots, the island of Cyprus has been divided by the buffer zone and no man's land, controlled by the United Nations for more than 40 years now. Being almost inaccessible by anyone, the architectural heritage has been deteriorating, and so has the intangible heritage. The tangible heritage includes buildings from the 15th century up until the 20th, an urban palimpsest that has both historical and cultural values that need to be acknowledged. Due to that, in 2013, Nicosia buffer zone was listed as one of the 7 most endangered heritage sites by Europa Nostra, but it has not yet been listed as a World Heritage Site.
And as Andrea mentioned, the main challenge of inaccessibility in a way defined our project proposal, which is the virtual reality experience within the aforementioned buffer zone in the historic Old Nicosia specifically. As an initial intervention, the proposed virtual experience will be about a specified urban corridor, as you can see down in the map, that used to be part of the formal commercial core. The process of data collection, including digital documentation, formal user interviews, and similar methodologies will help to reclaim collective memory, promote bi-communal collaboration, thus enhance peace building and raise awareness in addition to community engagement. Because this area has been under the shade for so many years that this opportunity can also put a spotlight on it and hope to prevent further loss of our shared cultural heritage. Apart from its inaccessibility, additional challenges include health and safety due to heavy physical degradation of the area, military conflict, political restrictions, ownership, and of course, funding. Next slide, please. Thank you. Andrea and I, as the bi-communal team leaders, tried to build a global network with geographically different collaborators who share similar concerns like conflict, division, endangered cultural heritage, and armed conflict, as well as prospective goals like enhancing social dialogue, peace building, and safeguarding cultural heritage. Even though our team composition is geographically distributed, the project's foundations are seated in Cyprus with the guidance of our senior advisory consultants, Mr. Ali Guralp and Mrs. Athina Papadopoulou, as representatives of the pioneering Bicommunal Nicosia Master Plan. Community members like Dr. Garip and Mr. Giorgalli will assist us in the market research and project structuring, and Dr. Bakshi, who has achieved an inclusive study on contested environments and memory, will have an advisory role in the content creation and storytelling.
So moving on, our industry representative is ETT Solutions, an Italian digital innovation company that will record, process, and develop the digital documentation in the project's area. Very important partners are the academic institutions, where we have RLICC that will guide us on the tangible and intangible heritage, and ESHEC that will help in developing innovative business models. And last but not least, our NGOs with PCRC based in Bosnia and Herzegovina, a very similar reality to ours, having an advisory role regarding young generation involvement. And finally, Visual Voices, an organization born in Cyprus, will collaborate with us by launching an international call for artistic works. Therefore, we managed to put together anyway a team with partners who could play different and significant roles in the project.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Thank you. The main technologies include virtual reality and augmented reality, which can be applied and developed further in all World Heritage and non-World Heritage sites. The main methodologies for virtual product creation include a combination of manual and digital data collecting, such as 360-degree recording, interviews, archival research, and syncretizing the collected data for information stitching and environmental reconstruction and regeneration. Generally, there are various ways to exhibit the output data, like mobile applications, fixed stations, and online platforms. Thus, the outreach is very extensive. Today, anyone can visit the Dante's House Museum from their browsers or the Museo Teatrale alla Scala from their mobile applications, which already offer virtual tours created by using these technologies. These exhibition tools can optionally be at a specific location, like we as a team offer in our short-term vision, and later be evolved into an app or a mobile exhibition as a long-term one. Thus, these virtual environments are becoming quite common and popular, considering the current physical and environmental restrictions caused by the pandemic.
So for both virtual and augmented reality experiences through VR glasses, a mobile application, and or a website as illustrated in the images we created, the potential themes could be firstly educational for all the ages in order to promote peace building within the local communities. Secondly, a section about tangible and intangible cultural heritage, reclaiming collective memory and raising awareness of the current situation. A fourth content could be historical through data cards for each building, as you can see in the second image. And lastly, a section illustrating future curation renderings, giving an idea of what the area could become. So we opted for these themes because of our project's mission and vision, but of course there could be different themes chosen for other heritage sites. Next slide, please. So we had to answer this question. How can our methodology be applied to other World Heritage sites or non-World Heritage sites, such as our project? First of all, we talked about digital documentation, not a physical intervention, whereas there would be no construction site or a hands-on approach. The intervention is totally reversible and requires only a small number of participants on site. And this brings us to the advantages. The main one is virtual accessibility due to the current COVID situation. Also, as Fatmagul said before, it is a very effective way to promote tangible and intangible heritage digitally all around the world. Another advantage is regeneration of lost values. where the buffer zone at this point has become a ghost area to the local communities, and the local heritage values need to be addressed. Finally, another benefit is that the actors involved can provide different points of view by engaging and sharing important information and documents regarding the site.
And we would like to highlight what information technologies offer is not only limited with virtual tours of current museums, as we previously mentioned, it is a gateway to the past as well as to the future. People can time travel and maybe experience the lost cultural heritage sites like the Bamiyan Buddhas in Afghanistan, which are now destroyed, or monitor restricted sites like underwater ones, or experience inaccessible ones like the buffer zone in Nicosia and similar. Thus, as Andrea mentioned, the benefit of accessibility will not only bring local, but also global acknowledgement. At last but not least, the major outcome of using technologies like VR and AR as tools can valorize cultural heritage, helping capacity building, and in our situation, even enhance social dialogue and assist in peacemaking in conflict areas. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
So thank you, Andrea and Fama, for your presentation. A typical example of digital documentation where you've applied virtual reality tools within a specific buffer zone because there were challenges, military conflicts. So for that reason, there were some kind of restriction. I noted that it was applied to a non-World Heritage site, so it will be good to see how it's applicable in all situations. Some of the advantages with your system is that it creates awareness, and then it helps us to understand our past and also know our future. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you indeed. Et maintenant, nous passons au parc du Tassili en Algérie. Et alors, Zine parlera de la connaissance patrimoniale et le développement humain. So the next speaker is from Algeria, and he will give his presentation in French. We welcome him very much. I will give a short recap of his presentation in English after he finishes. Alors, Zine, c'est à vous.
Merci. Thank you. Donc, au niveau du slide, il faut activer la vidéo, s'il vous plaît.
Michel, can you... Yeah.
Voilà. Donc, le principe de ce travail sur l'organisation de la connaissance patrimoniale à travers une plateforme multiservice est aujourd'hui au stade d'une start-up naissante et qui est composée de cette équipe que vous voyez, de jeunes doctorants à droite, à gauche, de jeunes doctorants, et de l'autre côté, une équipe technique et une autre équipe de marketing. Alors, cette expérience qu'on a appelée TADA, qui vient du mot data, data culture, data patrimoine, c'est une expérience de 10 années issue de la recherche à travers le patrimoine et le digital. Donc, aujourd'hui, j'encadre à peu près 7 doctorants sur cette thématique et qui vont rejoindre ce groupe qu'on a appelé TADA, qui vient du mot de data. Et puis, une autre expérience plutôt professionnelle de 2 agences de communication et culturelle, et à travers 10 années de production, d'événements, d'expositions sur le patrimoine algérien. Et par la suite, en 2016, on a senti la nécessité d'exporter ce patrimoine à travers les outils, à travers les nouvelles technologies. La diapositive suivante.
Michel, next.
Next, please. Alors, la plateforme, elle se présente sous cette architecture. Donc, le principe de cette plateforme, c'est que nous avons constaté qu'il y a la société n'est pas connectée à son patrimoine, l'absence de connaissances organisées sur le patrimoine algérien en particulier, et le patrimoine mondial en Algérie, très peu connu, donc une société déconnectée de son patrimoine. Et puis, une documentation disparate et absence de médiation autour du patrimoine. À partir de cette préoccupation, on a monté cette architecture de la plateforme qui est une base de connaissances, base de données, mais une base de connaissances. Et cette connaissance est visualisée dans un modèle de 3D. C'est-à-dire, on ne visualise plus en 2D ou à travers des textes ou des images, mais on va visualiser à travers un modèle 3D. Donc, un modèle qui est issu de la photogrammétrie, de la technique de la photogrammétrie ou lasergrammétrie, et qui nous permet d'introduire de la connaissance dans cette représentation en 3D, et ça nous permet aussi de créer des jeux éducatifs et de connecter la société vers son patrimoine. Nous trouvons que c'était le meilleur moyen. The next, please. Next slide. L'expérience le montre. Là, nous avons réalisé la photogrammétrie d'un mausolée à Tlemcen, qui est un patrimoine national, et nous donnons la possibilité de le visiter en VR, en réalité virtuelle. Là, c'est un palais du Bey à Constantine et qui nous permet de modéliser ce palais, et ça nous permet d'introduire cette information. Et enfin, un patrimoine mondial, le parc de Tassili, et qu'on a travaillé sur une zone qui est le tombeau de Tinhinan, et que nous avons modélisé à travers le drone. Et aujourd'hui, on a le modèle 3D. Ça nous permet aussi de visualiser toute la connaissance de ce tombeau qui est en fouille aujourd'hui, et ça nous donne la possibilité aussi de faire des restitutions. Le drone sert aussi à permettre de visualiser le patrimoine, mais aussi de surveiller ce patrimoine, de pouvoir contrôler. Parfois, il est immense, comme le site archéologique de Tédis, que vous voyez dans cette image, et ça nous permet de la même façon de créer des modèles 3D et d'introduire des informations interactives dans ces documentations. Next, please. Next slide. Et là, de l'extérieur, on revient au patrimoine qu'on organise pour la société, pour les citoyens, pour les personnes qui désirent, à travers des galeries 3D. Ça, c'est, vous voyez, deux modèles de galeries 3D où on visualise le patrimoine. Là, on a les instruments africains qui ont été modélisés en 3D, qui ont été photogrammétriés avec la technique de la photogrammétrie, et dès qu'on se rapproche de l'objet, ça nous permet d'avoir des informations. Cette technique de photogrammétrie est très intéressante. Elle permet d'avoir une image, une texture intéressante, lisible pour les visiteurs et interactive, puisque le visiteur, à travers réalité augmentée ou réalité virtuelle, nous pouvons tourner ces différents objets. Alors, notre expérience sur le terrain a été de former des artisans, mais aussi des architectes sur l'usage de la photogrammétrie pour pouvoir créer des modèles 3D, mais les intégrer dans la réalité augmentée sur un site. Donc, la plateforme est, après tout, structurée sur une partie la connaissance, donc une base de connaissances interactive, intelligente, et de l'autre côté, en output, la médiation, l'apprentissage, aussi créer un inventaire, non pas statique, mais un inventaire interactif à travers ces outils. Et là, par exemple, c'est un travail de restitution, puisque le bâtiment est en ruine, et donc on a essayé de reconstruire un Amman, donc en 3D, et on a repris les textures existantes, sans restitution particulière, donc telles que nous l'avons fouillé, et donc à partir des fragments qu'on restitue l'ensemble de l'état des lieux aujourd'hui de ce bâtiment qui n'existe plus. Cette plateforme, nous l'avons appelée Touratcom, qui veut dire patrimoine, votre patrimoine, qui est le nôtre, et à travers cette organisation d'une plateforme qui visualise la connaissance dans un modèle 3D. Et là, par exemple, sur une carte interactive, on peut donner la main aux citoyens pour introduire les données, mais aussi on peut avoir des jeux ludiques pour connaître un des sites. Là, c'est un site archéologique d'Hippone, de la ville de Saint-Augustin. Et ici, un autre exercice qui est de créer des jeux interactifs pour la société, pour les jeunes, pour essayer de découvrir ce patrimoine tout en gagnant des jeux. Donc, la photogrammétrie est pour nous un élément essentiel pour pouvoir créer d'autres applications. Ici, c'est la vidéo mapping pour projeter les éléments historiques sur une maquette qui a été élaborée. Et donc, cette interaction nous permet justement d'aller au détail grâce à la laser grammétrie qu'on voit ici, d'avoir les dimensions de chaque céramique et de raconter l'histoire. Et le VR est quelque chose pour la société, une meilleure immersion dans le patrimoine. Et nous allons organiser la prochaine exposition, c'est le patrimoine mondial de l'Algérie à travers la galerie 3D que vous avez vue tout à l'heure dans notre modèle. Voilà ce projet que nous avons désigné sous la start-up Tada et sous la plateforme qui est désignée sous le nom Tourat.com, votre patrimoine en arabe, et qui permet de connecter le patrimoine et la société. Donc, c'est un serveur d'intermédiation et qui n'est pas appliqué seulement sur l'Algérie ou sur son patrimoine, mais qui peut être dupliqué sur tous les sites. Et comme nous allons le faire sur le web, c'est un serveur d'intermédiation, donc on peut avoir des personnes qui vont alimenter cette base de connaissances sur, bien entendu, toujours le principe du modèle 3D pour qu'on puisse transformer ce modèle 3D en jeu éducatif, en interaction et la possibilité de télécharger sur des smartphones dans des visites sur site ou des visites virtuelles qui est une incitation au voyage de notre patrimoine mondial. Merci.
Non, merci Tassili, merci beaucoup Zine pour présenter et disséminer ce projet. Je pense que c'est très intéressant et comme tu dis, c'est vraiment utile pour des autres sites, mais je pense aussi des objets. Et comme tu dis, c'est pas seulement disséminé, c'est interprété, mais aussi c'est l'immersion. Je pense que ça c'est très important. Donc, j'ai dit maintenant, je vais donner un bref récap de votre discours en anglais au public, mais merci encore pour votre présentation. Je pense que c'est très
Merci.
So, yeah, everyone. So this was the presentation by Zine from Algeria. So I will give a very short recap of his presentation, which I found to be very inspiring as well and immersing. So he presented a project that was started by an interdisciplinary team. So you had both researchers, but I think it was interesting that they also have a business and marketing component in their team there. So basically, through the use of photogrammetry and 3D scanning, they have been developing 3D environments, but it's not just a 3D environments. They were able to link it with data, historic data, as well as current data, to allow to disseminate the knowledge to the public, but not just disseminate, but the public is actually able to interact with the environments and even creating an immersive environment for the visitors. Another interesting component of the 3D model is that it's not just restricted to gaming engines, so static, but they really succeeded in uploading parts also in a web-based environment, so it really becomes accessible for a larger group of visitors. So again, thank you very much for presenting this case. So now we move on to the next one. Now we'll take the floor.
So our next speaker is Augustin. Augustin is a primate expert from Congo. Let's welcome him.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to the Globinar audience. I'm really very excited. First of all, I would like to thank our mentors who helped us to frame our project. So I'm talking about an issue of managing a park. And here I've been working on this critical endangered gorilla since 25 years in Kahuzi-Biega National Park. As you may know, almost 50% of the African tropical forest lies in the République démocratique du Congo. And it has an exceptional biodiversity, which is home, this forest is home to many endemic plant and animal species, such as bonobo, Grauel's gorillas, and the okapi. And this motivated the inscription of 5 Congolese protected areas on the World Heritage list. But all these sites faced threats. And because of that, they are now listed on World Heritage in danger, which is really reducing their value. So the fight here is for all the fight, how to raise the importance again of the World Heritage to become World Heritage, not in danger. So we are proposing a very simple technology using camera trap and drones, which may help the park management to follow the threats and react accordingly. Next slide, please. So the next slide will be showing the key challenges. And as you may imagine, key challenges are resumed in poaching, illegal animal trafficking, and sometimes these poachers are using guns to kill animals. There are also bushfires, which are burning the park biodiversity, and deforestation is also another challenge. Illegal ore mining, which brought a lot of problems in the management of the park. So next slide, please. So we are suggesting these very simple tools to face these threats. And we hope that using camera trap and drone may allow track and monitor conservation targets and threats. Camera traps, apart from monitoring elusive animal species, which are sharing the same habitat of gorilla with the endemic gorillas, may also help to identify tracking poachers. As you saw on the previous slide, the camera trap could photograph a poacher carrying animal which he has killed in the forest. But the problem with this camera trap may be how we can record on real time. But to help recording information on real time, we may use drones. We explore a degraded forest area, which finds smoking, even artisanal mining zone. So using this drone can really be very helpful to track these threats and solutions. So the next slide, please. And sorry, I want also to show on the same slide the importance of this project, which has a component of capacity building and using local people to know how they can also use the camera trap, those tools, which are very important. And among those local people are pygmies. They are vulnerable, marginalized people, but we are training them how they can use these tools, so that also it's helping them to value the biodiversity. So it's a very important to add this capacity building component in this project, and using local people. So next slide, please. So the next slides show why is it important for this, because globally all the 5 World Heritage sites of Congo are, as I said, the World Heritage in danger. And I mean, using these very simple tools can be very important and cost effective to track remotely and on real time, as I was saying, about the threats. Especially as you can see on this map, Kahuzi-Biega has 2 different parts. And we have the mountain forest in the east and connected to the lowland forest with the corridor. And in between this corridor, we have so many threats, including the animal grazing, so cutting trees. So, and it's really critical. If it happens that this corridor is destroyed, we'll have 2 different parts of it. So the effort is how we can keep these 2 parts together, using and putting much information over this corridor and monitoring it. So, and this is a very short talk, and I believe that really using these very, very simple tools, we can help the management of the park to fight and track those criminals. Thank you very much.
Na left us. Thank you very much, Augustin, for, I think this is a very interesting and relevant presentation, really going on the nature side of the World Heritage side. I'm not sure if Na is still here. I'm sure she
I'm back.
Ah, great. Na, go ahead, because it had my name there, so I leave it to you.
Okay, so Augustin, thank you very much for your presentation on how to use camera traps and drones to protect our environment. So basically, your presentation has demonstrated how these technologies can be used within forest reserves, looking at the rate at which our forest is being destroyed, especially with illegal mining activities. So with the camera traps, we get the advantage of tracking, following the track of criminals and poachers. And then with the drone, we get the advantage of mapping the extent of destruction. So integrating the two helps us to know who is doing what and to what extent that damage has been caused. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you for a great summarizing my work. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's true.
Thank you, Augustin. Okay, so next we move to historic Cairo, a site that I'm very familiar with, and we are very happy to introduce to you. I saw that Tariq is here, so that's very good. I'm not sure if he will be speaking alone or if Ahmed Mansour will also join. In any case, the team will present their project on the monitoring of historic Cairo. Please, you have the floor.
Hello. Do you hear me?
We cannot hear you very well. There is a large distortion on the connection.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Go ahead. Or not so much perfect. The distortion is back and we cannot really hear you.
Yes. Hello. Hello.
It's on and off. I don't know if you can get a better, more secure.
Do you hear me now better?
Yes, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. We have proposal for monitoring way of a historic Cairo site. Historic Cairo was nominated and listed on the World Monument list on 1979. And actually, it's a very big site in Cairo, in Egypt. And there is a lot of changes are going on recently. So our proposal to make some sort of mobile application where anyone of the community, the public can shoot a photo with his mobile and upload it with the application, the free mobile application. So we can put it on the map with in danger or a good something good happening inside the site. There will be some sort of a team, voluntary team who will manage and verify the data uploaded by the mobile application, and they will put it on the map, and the map will be presented, shared on a website, so anyone can monitor historic Cairo in real time. So this is our short presentation. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Tariq, and also, of course, the entire team. I have to say, this is, let's say, the first of its kind that we hear today, in the sense that you are indeed monitoring the historic situation, a web-based application, but it's really an example of citizen science, as we would call it. So you're really involving or making the community and stakeholders active, in the sense that they are providing you the and live monitor the historic city. So in a sense, it almost is a nice example of also preventive conservation through citizen science. So thank you very much for this example to the team of Historic Cairo. Then we move to the next one.
So our last presentation in the group of competition will be from China. Let's welcome Jing to make his presentation.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Jing from Tongji Heritage Landscape Conservation Team. Today, I'm going to share the proposal for an AR-based World Heritage interpretation system for Wulingyuan Scenic and Historic Interest Area, the Wulingyuan Natural Cultural Lenses. Next slide, please. Okay. Our team is a multidisciplinary communication platform composed of Tongji University, East, and Guizhou Normal University, with community and other stakeholders' involvement as our guiding principle. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Please play the video, yeah. The Wulingyuan Scenic and Historic Interest Area is a World Natural Heritage with outstanding natural value. Yeah. It is famous for its spectacular landscape dominated by more than 3,000 narrow sandstone pillars and peaks, as well as a number of endangered plant and animal species. It is a natural heritage, but it located within a heavily populated agricultural region with more than 2,000 years of human settlement history. And now there are 42 villages and more than 55,000 inhabitants, of which most are ethnic minorities. Thus, how to coordinate community development and World Heritage conservation is an important issue in Wulingyuan World Heritage. As China's most well-known tourist destination, Wulingyuan receives approximately 10 to 20 million tourists each year, which has brought big pressure to the protection and management of the World Heritage. At the same time, diversified tourists have put forward higher requirements and expectations for the World Heritage interpretation. The results of a survey show that local communities and tourists have insufficient awareness of the value of World Heritage. At the same time, current interpretation lacks the representation of the local cultural value. and the methods and tools need updation. So, based on above challenges and background, we put forward our project, Wulingyuan Natural Cultural Lenses. Lenses are the key concept as the different perspectives of seeing world heritage. Today's information technologies have provided us with a series of lenses to obtain world heritage information more intuitively, creatively, and interestingly. We aim to enhance awareness of the world heritage significance through natural cultural lenses. To achieve the goal, the Wulingyuan Natural Cultural Lenses is an AR-based interpreting system including 3 components. People can learn about representative animals of Wulingyuan with multiple mediums such as figures, videos, and so on. Lenses are not limited to visual sensory. Wulingyuan Natural Cultural Lenses provide more sensorial experience. For example, through sound lens, different sounds of nature and local people are presented, which enhance the understanding of the site with immersive environment. In these lenses, tourists can get oral interpretation surveys from local people, and tourists are also provided with chances to get deeper relationship with World Heritage sites. For example, through this agricultural lens, people can claim rice fields online and learn traditional farming knowledge from the local farmers. After harvest, they can receive pollution-free agricultural products. At the same time, local farmers manage the rice fields and update news to people. The app serves as a platform for community to show local knowledge and promote local economic development. Above all are 8 different lenses and what information users can get from them, as well as how local people can participate in the interpretation process. So our proposal shows information technology is changing the way communities and tourists receive and create World Heritage information. It also creates a strong link between communities and World Heritage. To conclude, the Wulingyuan Natural Cultural Lenses is an interpretation system of geodatabase, AR app, and arranged activities. The framework of Wulingyuan Natural Cultural Lenses can be applied to other World Heritage sites, and we draw 4 important points to make the interpretation system more comprehensively and efficiently. The first is we should get a surrounding understanding of the multi-level value of World Heritage. It is significant for information technology application. Second, innovative technology application is the key. Third, different sites can establish unique lenses system according to their World Heritage character and values. Lastly, local capacity building and local value protection are the ultimate goal of World Heritage conservation. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide. Yeah. So above all, our proposal, thank you for listening. If you have any questions or interests, you can contact with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee, for your presentation. And so Lee's presentation has focused on tourists, and they have considered the volumes of people or volumes of tourists visiting China. And through an interdisciplinary collaboration with her team, they have come up or developed an immersive communication app based on augmented reality. The aim of this app basically is to create awareness of cultural heritage sites and values. And so the main items here is to create a collaboration between culture and natural values. They have also integrated multimedia information in the application. And very importantly, they have done this through community collaboration. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Na, for this wonderful recap, but also thank you again to all of our 6 presenters of good practices, inspiring practices from World Heritage sites. So again, these were only 6 submissions of the total of 36 submissions of the global competition. You can, if you want, at any time go to our Miro board and check out again their materials and the movies that they have submitted. I'm gonna ask Joe to copy again in the chat the Miro board link also. So if people want to access it, feel free to do so. Next on in our schedule, we have a short introduction on the policy toolkits. So now I gladly give the floor to our colleagues Haifaa and Komal, who will present you what actually has been going on and what is the goal of this whole Globinar where we are together. But I'm also gonna kindly ask them if they can kind of restrict the time. I know we're a bit behind, but we do hope to start the breakout rooms at, let's say, 1:20, if it's possible. Haifaa, Komal, can you give some ideas on that?
So
yeah,
20 past.
Start. Yes.
Yeah, so I have 10 minutes, and is 10 minutes okay, Haifaa, for you? So we can divide.
Yeah?
Okay, great. Yeah.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will be briefly touching upon the policy and the toolkit work that is in process. And it has been a great morning listening to all the keynote speakers and the competitions. I think it's very much in lines with the policy recommendations and toolkits. So already you have been introduced to the main characteristics of these policy documents. Next slide, please. So the transformational impacts of, the transformational impact of information technology theme is a part of the larger Our World Heritage initiative, and which has a group of citizens, organizations, civil societies, professionals, and scholars. And we as a group has banded together with 2 purposes in mind. One is to protect and conserve cultural and natural heritage sites, which are designated by UNESCO, and to mobilize a global network to renew the World Heritage Convention. Next slide, please. The transformational impacts of information technology is one of the 12 themes that will host debates all over the year in 2021. And the main aim of this IT theme is built in 2 sections. One is to build a robust global network of professional citizens, scholars, and civil society organizations. And the second one is to explore how IT technologies can be used for monitoring and presenting the World Heritage sites with a view to facilitate improvements in both these areas. Next slide, please. So this Globinar 2.0 is actually our 3rd event, and we are already on our way to achieving the first goal of bringing together and building a robust global network. The Globinar, which happened in January, saw over 900 participants from 91 countries, 125 panelists, and 29 moderators. This stirred a great discussion and brought to the fore great practices and projects, and also saw hosting of successful global competitions, which we just saw the results of it. Next one, please. To quickly look at the theme and where we are right now. We started in November, and we hosted our first Globinar in January and launched the global competition and started to collect information towards formulating a policy recommendation. So our global competitors submitted letters of intention in January. February, there was an event. February, there was an event held to announce the shortlisted global competitors, and also the shortlisted entries were given advisory and mentoring through the policy team. And this is where we are right now, which is April and Globinar 2.0. And this is where we are also going to share the 6-part policy framework and discuss the toolkit and where we are right now. Next one, please. So So this policy and the toolkit framework is not possible without the front and back end work of and support of all the team members that we are working very hard to build these Globinars. The policy team includes well-seasoned professionals and emerging professionals from various backgrounds and experiences, and putting their heads together to build this team, the policy team and toolkit. We have Christina and Mario as the conveners of IT team, Haifaa as the co-convener, Laurie, who is the co-convener of policy team, and Divya, who is the co-convener of the Globinar team. And amongst them, we have enthusiastic professionals and academics, namely Ona, Carmelo, Rashmi, Peace, Dani, Nazi, and myself. And some of these team members are also working to build the toolkit, which includes Haifaa as the co-convener, Carmelo, Rashmi, Dani, and Nazi, and myself. Next, please. So as I mentioned, the outcome of these events, all the Globinars and mentoring, and all the discussions have taken place will be a part of the theme report on transformational impacts of information technology. And each of the 12 themes of our World Heritage Initiative will produce this theme report. The steering group has agreed on a standard outline for each of these individual themes, and for which they will prepare the final report. And this comprises of the introduction, which includes context, goals, and methodology, what we have heard over this time, and considerations amongst these debates, which will be included in the recommendations, and how the contribution of IT to the work of our World Heritage is envisaged, how the results of this theme is incorporated in the working of our World Heritage, and where training and capacity building can be designed, and how the guidance can be improved for World Heritage conservation. And the next steps, which include for this IT team, is to achieve improvements such as recommendations organized by the audience, which is today, which includes site managers, state parties, and UNESCO. And the larger aim being recommendations for amendment of the World Heritage operational guidelines. Next one, please. So here we are today, Globinar 2.0, and today's focus is building our key recommendations for the policy and toolkit, and developing this toolkit to equip better the site managers and the users in ways to how to understand, conserve, monitor, and present World Heritage sites. And we'll be looking for inputs from all the participants that are present with us today from different backgrounds. We expect site managers, academics, experts, professionals to rate and give inputs on the characteristics of these toolkits that we will be presenting to you shortly. And we want to listen to your inputs also based on the keynote speakers and the competition entries, and include them in the discussions in the breakout rooms. Next one, please. So the way we have designed this, the way we want to invite you to receive discussions is through the breakout rooms. And these breakout rooms today cover the 3 topics of capacity building and networking, tools in monitoring and interpretation, and data management and open source data. So interestingly, we saw many examples which were given to us by our keynote speakers, also our competition members. So I'm sure this capacity, the headings of these breakout rooms are going to generate a lot of discussion and good points to feed the toolkit. Next one. Yeah, so we want you to consider in these breakout rooms the points as from the view of a site manager, what kind of toolkits are useful for management and conservation and interpretation from the perspective of site managers, as well as from the perspective of professionals or users and inclusion of communities. Hence, in the toolkit presentation that Haifaa will be giving shortly, we have listed down characteristics, and we want you to rate these characteristics as ease of use or access, or also the pertinence of these tools in terms of usefulness. Next one. So what is the next step of these toolkits and policy guidelines? After this work on the IT theme is carried out, this report of the transformational impacts of information technology is going to become a part of a larger overall report, which will be submitted to the Our World Heritage and to the UNESCO World Heritage Convention, World Heritage Center. These recommendations will continue to be explored, and different possibilities of a larger e-platform of the catalog that we built as a simple toolkit to build and to also equip the site managers, and eventually for a more comprehensive toolkit in the future. Next one, please. So thank you for listening this explanation of how we are building this policy framework. And now we will go to a small poll question, which is basically to get your inputs for the characteristics of the different toolkits. So here we have listed 7 characteristics, such as the purpose built for heritage management, the versatile and adaptability of and the needs of diverse site managers, affordability, standards, accessibility, open source. We want you to rate these characteristics ranging from 1 to 7, 1 being the lowest, 7 being the highest, and as per your information, or if you have used this in the past. So you will find the link in the chat. So we hope you access the link and answer these questions and rate these characteristics of the toolkit. So the link of this poll has been...
When you open up the poll, when you click on one of the answers, you're going to see arrows that you can then push your answer up and down so that you can rank them. And the most important to you should be at the top of the list. And then hit submit, and then we should see some results here. Thanks, Komal.
Thanks, Michelle. We're still waiting for more inputs. It's very interesting how the rankings change as per the perspective of different users. Affordability and ease to operate. I think this is one of the key areas of intervention of toolkits, where the tools or the apps need to be easily accessible and affordable. The same questions were raised in the session 1, and I'm sure the discussions in the breakout rooms would also answer these questions and receive more inputs. Great, I think we are at the end of our poll. All right, over to you, Haifaa, for the toolkit. Thank you.
Thank you, Komal. Yeah, so I'm going to present our concept thought, which is actually based on feedback we got from the first Globinar that happened this year, early this year, January this year, which is, we call it the cool toolkit. And we use the term of toolkit to, it's like you can choose whatever tool it's like fits you and it's good for you. So next, please. So the vision is like, this is a long-term vision. So to create a very green, dynamic, and user-friendly digital platform that provide access to data, information, and tools for World Heritage stakeholders in order to support understanding, conservation, monitoring, interpretation, networking, and exchange of good practices for World Heritage. And we put World Heritage stakeholders because we hoping that this toolkit will serve the widest range of practitioners or users as we can. Next, please. So this is the general concept, let's say the long-term concept of the e-platform or the toolkit. And today we're gonna focus mainly on that one place for data and tools and capacity development. And this also, I would like to highlight that we will have more focused discussions like on other topics. And this is like we are on today, but we just focus on the short-term plan. Next, please. Next, yeah. So the short plan, it's like we're gonna focus our efforts and work on like developing a digital catalog or hub of tools for monitoring and interpretation for World Heritage sites. And like we'd give attention to the capacity building and networking tools and techniques and apps and open source data. Next, please. So the objective of the toolkit, it's like to create a platform that collect and give access to the catalog throughout evergreen, dynamic, and user-friendly cloud environment for information and knowledge, like manuals, applications, information, wherever it's available and reliable. This is very important for us also. Tools that related to monitoring, conservation, interpretation of World Heritage sites, also to be to share and like good practices and case studies. And we also hoping that also we would like to promote the innovative solution and practices and other narratives of World Heritage sites. And like using this competition we had this year, it's actually will feed into like promoting innovative solutions and practices. Next, please. So what's different? The different is like we are hoping to have a free, up-to-date, reliable, and accessible digital platform hub between brackets. And it's designed to serve all World Heritage practitioners, including civil society sector. And it's like one place for everything. This is like what we're hoping. So, and like this place also will help, will try to serve wider spectrum of World Heritage users. Next, please. So here is like the key elements of the digital toolkit we are discussing today. And this is like the main topics, and you will see some examples like as a sub ideas that will be under. So you also welcome to discuss and get back to us with feedback. Next, please. So these are the potential key audience. Of course, we are like, we know that we might have wider audience, wider spectrum of audience, but like mainly we are targeting World Heritage practitioners, non-governmental organizations, technology partners, communities, education and academia, institutions, development and business sectors, such as like tourism, also any interested individuals. Next, please. The Globinar consultation, it will like, we will have breakout rooms to like, as we mentioned earlier in the 3 key topics, networking, capacity building, tools, techniques, practices for monitoring and interpretation, data management, and open source data. So what we really want to get out of this consultation, to know what are, what's the characteristic of the greatest importance to you. So it allows us to be able to choose, like, because there is like dozens and dozens, like hundreds of tools, and this will help us also to be able to choose. Also, how the toolkit can provide tools within these characteristics. Yeah, next, please. So each breakout room will have a question, guiding questions, also list of like tools or sources, links, and list also of characteristics for each tool or source. Of course, these are suggested, so please, you are welcome to add or like to like give us your feedback on whatever we put as a suggestion. Next, please. So the breakout room 1, it's will focus on capacity building. So we need to have like to keep in mind, like if we are talking about that, like something that you want to develop, what's the samples, like online trainings or resources that or tutorials you used? Is it would you recommend them, and why? What are the challenges? Why you wouldn't recommend them, or what we can like do to avoid these challenges? what other like online trainings or tutorials available for digital technologies, or would you recommend them? And like also we would like to know if it's like what are the advantages and how we can overcome such like these challenges. Okay, next please. Yeah, I would skip the example. Let's go to the next, please. So these are the top characteristics. I'm not gonna read them because actually you will have them in your breakout rooms. So next, please. So the breakout room 2 for the tools in monitoring and interpretation. So we would like to hear from you, what are the digital apps or like tools you use for monitoring? What are the most useful, like advantages, challenges, and also like same as for interpretation. And if you can suggest other tools or digital apps that we can use it for interpretation or monitoring. And also what you can advise us on the toolkit you think that should be there or should be considered. Next, please. Well, I'm gonna access, yeah, thank you. And these are the top characteristics. You will have them in your breakout rooms. Next, please. So for the breakout room 3, we will talk about the data management and open source data. So what are the like samples of data, open source data are there available on like, and you used, what are the most useful one and how, why, advantages, limitation or challenges. And if you can suggest like other open source data repository, and what are the challenges in making these data fair, which is like a findable, accessible, interoperative, and reusable. So next, please. Next. And these are the top characteristics. So next. So the outcomes of the Globinar, after the like we got like all these feedback from your side, we will review them and we will like analyze them and like see how we can consider them within our like work on the either policy recommendations or the toolkit, and to identify like examples of good practices and how we can also use it as a guidance for us. Next, please. So what are the next steps is like to prepare the theme report for the for our theme, and this is will be based on all the like inputs from the deep like debates we'll have and for our World Heritage initiative in general. And we also will contribute the global report that will be like finalized by end of 2021. And also we also hoping to mobilize potential initiatives for the development of the long-term concept of this platform. So next, please. So yeah, I think I will leave this to Aziliz, and I would like to thank everybody who listened. And please, we would like to hear your voice, your ideas, your thought. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much to both Haifaa and Komal from the policy team. So again, everyone here, we're not just here for a very interesting Globinar and to hear from very inspiring cases around the world. Everything that we discuss will actually be upscaled and highlighted in the toolkits that are being developed. So it all has a purpose, not just for yourself, but the message will be out there. So right now,